Daniel Cormier has once again voiced his frustration with the UFC's scoring system, particularly regarding how takedowns are evaluated in mixed martial arts. Following UFC 320, where Merab Dvalishvili secured a dominant unanimous decision victory over Cory Sandhagen, Cormier took to his podcast with Ciryl Gane to highlight what he believes is a major flaw in the current judging criteria. In the co-main event, Dvalishvili showcased his relentless wrestling, recording an astonishing 20 takedowns according to the official statistics. Sandhagen, on the other hand, managed to defend 17 of those attempts. While the numbers seemed impressive, Cormier expressed skepticism, arguing that not all of those sequences should qualify as legitimate takedowns. Cormier explained his reasoning by saying that the definition of a takedown in MMA is often misunderstood or misapplied by statisticians and judges. The MMA takedown is a problem, Cormier stated. The way they score MMA takedowns is the problem. A takedown should be when you actually bring your opponent to the mat and establish control. It shouldn't count when the guy gets right back up, and you just lift him and put him back down again. That's not a takedown, that's a mat return. Cormier shared that he was once invited to consult with officials who record takedowns during fights, but even after those discussions, he remained unconvinced by their criteria. They called me in, I sat with the people who do the takedowns, and I still walked out thinking, that's not a takedown, he said. Merab didn't get 20 takedowns. He probably got 5 or 6, and the rest were just mat returns. While Cormier's criticism highlights a long-standing debate within MMA judging, many argue that the discrepancy in numbers wouldn't have altered the outcome of the fight. Dvalishvili not only controlled the majority of the bout but also significantly outstruck Sandhagen throughout the contest. However, Sandhagen himself wasn't shy about sharing his own perspective. In a recent interview with Ariel Helwani, he questioned the effectiveness of Dvalishvili's approach. The 20 takedowns thing is kind of funny, Sandhagen said. If you watch that fight, you're not going to think, wow, Merab's wrestling was super impressive. It was more about holding me with those body locks and milking the clock. That's not damage, it's just control. With Dvalishvili now set to defend his bantamweight title against Petr Yan at UFC 323 on December 6, it remains to be seen whether this ongoing debate about scoring and takedown definitions will influence his future strategy, or spark further calls for reform in MMA judging standards. Anthony Hernandez has officially responded to Sean Strickland's recent call-out, addressing the former champion's challenge and clarifying where his priorities lie in the middleweight division. Although currently sidelined due to an injury that forced him to withdraw from his scheduled main event against Rainier de Ridder at UFC Vancouver, Hernandez made it clear that he's more than open to facing Strickland, though he might have another opponent in mind first. Hernandez, who is currently on an impressive 8-fight winning streak, was widely viewed as a potential title contender had he defeated de Ridder. His grappling heavy style and relentless pressure have made him one of the most dangerous rising contenders in the middleweight division. However, after his injury, Strickland publicly called for a fight with him, taking playful shots at Hernandez's wrestling-centric approach and even dubbing him the American Chimaev, comparing his style to that of Khamzat Chimaev. During the recent appearance on the Weigh-In podcast, Hernandez was asked about Strickland's comments. He responded with his characteristic calm confidence. "Sean's funny. He's wild and always saying crazy stuff. That's just who he is," Hernandez said. "But if he wants to fight me, then run it. I don't care. I'd love that fight, but I'd also like to fight Dricus du Plessis because that one gets me closer to the belt. Either way, both fights make sense." Hernandez emphasized that he's open to whatever matchup the UFC offers next. "At the end of the day, whoever the matchmakers call me for, I'm signing the contract," he said. "Both fights would be fun, both would be bloody, and both would make us a lot of money. So I really don't care which one comes first." When asked why he slightly favored a bout with du Plessis, Hernandez explained that defeating the former champion would have greater long-term significance. "I'd like to fight DDP because he's done a lot as a champion. He beat big-name guys and proved himself. If I beat him, it would mean taking out a proven champion, and that's the kind of win that gets you the belt." Many analysts believe Hernandez's focus on du Plessis is strategic. DDP currently holds the #1 contender spot and has lost only once since 2018, with notable victories including 2 over Strickland. A win against a top-ranked former champion like Du Plessis could position Hernandez directly in line for a title shot. Whether it's Strickland or DDP, one thing is clear. Anthony Hernandez is ready to face whoever stands in his path to UFC gold. Dricus du Plessis recently shared his prediction for the upcoming heavyweight title clash between Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane, set to headline UFC 321 on November 22 in Abu Dhabi. With Aspinall entering the bout as a strong betting favorite, du Plessis made it clear he won't be wagering against the reigning champion. The matchup marks Aspinall's first official title defense since being declared the undisputed heavyweight champion following Jon Jones' brief retirement. According to most oddsmakers, Aspinall currently sits as a dominant favorite, with betting lines ranging between -400 and -480, while Gane stands as the underdog, a rare position for the former interim champion. During a recent interview with Fight Forecast, du Plessis was asked to weigh in on who he believes will walk away with the belt. The South African middleweight champion offered his analysis with respect for both fighters but ultimately leaned toward Gane. "It's going to be very interesting," du Plessis said. "I'm going with Gane on this one. I think he's hungry and ready. He looks phenomenal in the training footage I've seen. He's such a physical specimen, just massive and athletic. Anything can happen in the heavyweight division, but I think Gane has what it takes this time." Although his pick might surprise some fans, du Plessis has long spoken highly of Aspinall's talent and potential. Just a few months earlier, he praised the British champion as a generational fighter who represents the new era of heavyweights. "The first time you saw Tom Aspinall fight, you knew there was something special," du Plessis said in a previous interview. "He's almost the next generation of heavyweight. He moves like a middleweight, light on his feet, and incredibly well-rounded. He can grapple, strike, and wrestle. I think he's going to be a great champion for a long time. Honestly, there aren't many heavyweights on his level right now." Du Plessis' comments reflect a broader sentiment shared by many fighters and analysts who have been impressed by Aspinall's combination of speed, precision, and composure inside the octagon. Still, Gane's elite striking and experience in high-pressure fights make this an unpredictable matchup. As the heavyweight showdown in Abu Dhabi draws near, fans are eager to see whether Aspinall can solidify his reign as one of the sport's most complete big men, or if Ciryl Gane can reclaim championship glory and prove du Plessis' prediction right. Dana White has once again made headlines, this time for unleashing a fiery response toward boxing promoter Eddie Hearn. The UFC president didn't hold back during his appearance on the *3 Knockdown Rule podcast, where he labeled Hearn a lunatic, and accused him of acting out of character in recent months. The dispute stems from comments Hearn made criticizing one of White's recent crossover boxing events featuring Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Hearn had questioned the legitimacy and promotional approach of the fight, suggesting that White was overstepping his expertise in boxing. Those remarks didn't sit well with the UFC boss, who wasted no time firing back. "Well, it's fascinating," White began. "Eddie Hearn all of a sudden is acting like a lunatic. You know what he sounds like to me? He sounds like he's reading from a WWE script. I've known Eddie for a while, and this isn't his personality. But lately, when you listen to him, it's like hearing a career politician running for election. He's suddenly saying, 'We're going to do this, we're going to do that,' acting like he's going to change boxing overnight. Where was he the last 20 years? White didn't stop there. He went on to mock Hearn's recent claims about revitalizing the sport of boxing and positioning himself as a rival promoter to the UFC. These guys never thought big before, White continued. Now all of a sudden, Eddie's going to fix boxing, compete with me, and do all these big things? I don't even think about what those guys are doing. I don't care. Let them do their thing." The UFC president also addressed Hearn's criticism regarding the Alvarez vs. Crawford matchup, clarifying that he never claimed to have created Canelo or invented the idea of that fight. Eddie said, "Dana didn't come up with this fight, he didn't create Canelo." "Yeah, no kidding, Sherlock," White said sarcastically. "When have you ever seen me running around saying I came up with Canelo vs. Crawford? Nobody said that. Someone's writing him a WWE script, and he just sounds ridiculous." White concluded his rant by dismissing Hearn's ambitions outright. "He's not going to do jack," White declared. "He talks big, but he's not going to change anything." The heated exchange underscores the ongoing tension between the worlds of boxing and mixed martial arts, And once again, Dana White's trademark bluntness ensures the feud will be one of the most talked about storylines in combat sports. Indian UFC lightweight Ciryl Gane has finally addressed the backlash he faced earlier this year after comments surfaced suggesting he could submit former lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. The remarks sparked widespread criticism from fans and fighters alike, with many accusing Gane of disrespecting one of the sport's all-time greats. Now, the 29-year-old fighter is firing back, claiming that his words were taken completely out of context. Earlier in the year, clips circulated online in which Gane appeared to say, "There's no difference between me and Khabib. I have a world champion mindset. I'm extremely strong mentally. Nothing can break me. Maybe I have to survive the first round, and then I can knock him out in the second. I can submit Khabib." The timing of the comments made matters worse, as they went viral shortly after Gane suffered a first-round stoppage loss to Cory Sandhagen. The remarks even caught the attention of Khabib's longtime coach, Javier Mendez, who responded publicly. "Ciryl's a good kid, but I don't know why he's saying things like that," Mendez said. "Maybe he's just trying to get attention. He's not in a position to talk like that yet. Brother, become a champion or at least a #1 contender before you make those claims. What's his UFC record, 1-2 or 2-2? Months later, Gane took to social media to clarify his side of the story, insisting that the quotes were misrepresented. "They took small clips from a long interview and made it look like I was disrespecting Khabib," he wrote. "First of all, I don't care what people think. I don't waste my energy on opinions, especially from brainless haters. I'm doing all the right things, and I'm coming back stronger than ever." Gane went on to express his admiration for Khabib, saying that his comments were never meant to insult the former champion. "People who know me know how much I look up to Khabib. I've learned a lot from his game and mentality. The part where I said I'd submit him was said as a joke. If you watch the full video, you'd understand the humor behind it," he explained. After starting his professional career with 6 straight wins, including a breakthrough victory in the * Road to UFC series, Gane has since struggled to find consistent success, going 1-2 in the octagon. Despite the controversy, he remains determined to bounce back and prove himself worthy of competing among the division's elite, with a clear message to critics that his respect for Khabib Nurmagomedov remains intact.